2.5 Men, Alan testing a new medication. This is about the video clip or testing a new medication and other examples about clinical research. This slide is a conversation between the doctor and Alan. These characters are found in the video clip that was provided to us. First, Alan asked a question. The question of Alan is, are there any side effects of the medication? The doctor replied, well, that is one of the purposes of the research. Common side effects are dry mouth, hair loss, blurred vision, flamed gums, heart palpitations, liver damage, among others. Alan asked another question. Wow, how many people do you pay to this? The doctor replied, $1,000 a week. Alan stated, I'm in. In the end, Alan experienced all the bad symptoms of the new medication when he stayed at his brother's house in the following days after his deal with the doctor. In the last part of the video, Alan appeared to have seizures, having convulsive movements. Here I look at what it's like knowing the plan of healthcare risk management, as well the insights of those who stated that there is monetary fund inequality when it comes to clinical research or testing a new medication. So that is about paying research participants. There are questions regarding how do we pay research participants. They have taken a new urgency as contemporary geographies of precarity, inequality, and austerity affect both potential participants and to varying extents. Early career researchers, while universities place greater emphasis on public engagement and research impact. Healthcare risk management plan. Medicinal products are given authorization on the basis that the risk benefit balance is judged to be positive for the target population at the time of authorization. Additionally, there are limitations in critical trial, those that will be tolerated in clinical research or new medication testing are safe with a consideration to the homogeneous population's limitations in terms of age, sex, race, and ethnicity, comorbidity, restricted co-medication, relatively short duration of study and follow-up, and the marketed drug addresses huge population and relatively long time exposure. Testing a new drug or medication, this demands risk management plan that will play a vital role in both pre and post approval of drug. In the video entitled 2.5 Men Allen Testing a New Medication, there is no risk management plan established. That is a comedy video clip that can be a guiding document for how an organization strategically identifies, manages, and mitigates risk in testing a new medication or drug. In the next slide, there is another example. That is Mr. Jackson's story. And That is also somehow related to testing a new medication, but this time it is more on ha- uh, participating in clinical research. What it's like participating in clinical research. Mr. Jackson is 73 years old and was just diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. He is worried about how it will affect his daily life. Will he forget to take his medicine? Will he forget his favorite memories, like the births of his children or hiking the trail? When Mr. Jackson talked to his doctor about his concerns, she told him about a clinical trial that is testing a possible new Alzheimer's treatment. So, if this is like a trial, the doctor will be the one to explain the risks and the benefits in this trial. Then, if there is an interest in the side of the patient, then that will come up to the next level, which is discussing who are qualified and who are not qualified. Later on, there is an explanation about the intrinsic and extrinsic criteria when it comes to joining such clinical research. The continuation of Mr. Jackson's story. But Mr. Jackson has concerns about clinical trials. He does not want to feel like a lab rat or take the chance of getting a treatment that may not work or could make him feel worse. Next, the doctor explained that there are both risks and benefits to being part of a clinical trial. And she talked with Mr. Jackson about research studies, the questions that are provided by Mr. Jackson to the doctor uh, are are questions such as what do we call this kind of research studies, what they are, how do clinical trials work, and why they need volunteers to this kind of clinical research or clinical trial. So here, Mr. Jackson plans to learn more about how to participate. Next slide is how do researchers decide who will participate? This is in response to Mr. Jackson's question on how he will participate. Number one, there should be a consent that will be provided by the participant to the body or to the organization per se before they will conduct a research. I mean, if they before they will join the clinical study or clinical research. Next, research staff will ask questions and perform tests to see if eligible for the trial. Then, the screening may involve blood and other laboratory tests, thinking and memory tests, and a physical examination. This is about the difference between inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria. Inclusion criteria, for example, a clinical trial may need participants to have a certain stage of disease, version of a gene, or family history. Exclusion criteria, these are participants with certain characteristics that may not be allowed to participate in some trials. I found that there are directives of governing organizations such as the Department of Health and Human Services, FDA, and Advancing Healthcare Risk Management. These governing bodies ensure risk management compliance. I started to look for these governing organizations because when I watch the video clip, provided to us, I got an idea that I got an interest on how certain clinical research that involves testing of new medication, testing of, let's say, genetic research and other researches. How are they approved? Who are those organizations or bodies that approve this kind of clinical research? What are the steps? These are the questions that came to mind when I watched the video clip, and I started to think as well what it's like as well in the Philippine context, because the video clip provided, that is like a video video uh, offshore. So I would like to know as well in the Philippine context. And this Food and Drug Administration is the one who approved first the clinical trials if they are found to be carefully designed, reviewed, and completed. Those that can take part in the clinical trials are people who meet the inclusion criteria. In the Philippines, our clinical trials are categorized into two: WHO Solidarity Vaccine Trial, approved by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases resolutions. Second, independent trials. Those, for example, vaccine developers who have their own fund when conducting trials, clinical trials, then they have the prerogative to perform on their own, given the fact that the Food Drug Administration, FDA, approves their application registration first. So it has also been stated there, Resolution number 47, as part of our country's commitment to make the COVID-19 vaccine available in the soonest time possible for the Filipino people. Next slide is the graphical abstract found in the Science Direct website. This shows the uh, phases and how, like, somehow the vaccines are tested. So it is just an example. So don't I also compared it to the video clip that we watched, that there is no, because it is a comedy not to be taken seriously, there is no, like, testing that happened. So I decided to look for, like, a division on how certain medication are being tested. But what I found is how, for example, a vaccine is first being tested. So first there is the vaccine design, then the preclinical testing, then the clinical testing. There's the phase one, phase two, and phase three. So I just got an example and related this graphical abstract to that video clip that we watch. These are the references from National Library of Medical National Center for Biotechnology, so on and so forth.